Laura. Nice to see you again, and we're very grateful for having you here. And let's jump right in. Start with the interview. So maybe first and foremost, you're an HHL alumna. That's why you're here today. And first question is, how did your studies at HHL influence your professional career so far?
Yeah. So even before starting HHL, I actually knew that I wanted to go into consulting. So I actively chose HHL because I knew it would prepare me well for it. It's a very dynamic environment at HHL. You do a lot of group works with a lot of different people from different backgrounds, nationalities, different personalities. So it really prepares you for a consulting role well. And there's also a high workload at times. So you learn the time management and self-management skills basically on the go. So I think if you want to go into consulting and that's sort of your goal for your professional career, HHL is a really great choice because it prepares you pretty well.
I'm happy to hear that. Is there anything in particular, because you listed quite a few things now and quite a few skills that you luckily could improve during your time at HHL, but is there maybe one key takeaway from your master, maybe also something that surprised you that you didn't see coming?
I think my main key takeaway really was the skill to work with different people from different backgrounds, because I think that is crucial. In consulting, you get randomly selected into your teams every, I don't know, 3 to 6 months on average. And also your clients are usually super diverse from very different backgrounds, very different age groups as well. And I think that was a good learning for me as well. And maybe a second thing is what I didn't expect so much before starting is that I feel like what you really pay for at the end of the day is the network that you get from HHL, not just from the peers that you study with, but mainly also from the alumni that you can then contact before starting a job. Because I think I don't know if I would have ended up at Volkswagen Consulting if it hadn't actually been for an alumna who approached me because she saw that I had previous automotive experience, and then asked if I was interested and if I wanted to do an internship or apply for a full-time position. So the network was a real benefit at the end of the day.
Oh, wow. Thanks for sharing that. And of course, I'm very happy to hear that the network already worked out in such a tangible way for you that you ended up at your current role at Volkswagen Consulting. If I understood it correctly, you're still there. You have recently been promoted. So
Yes.
maybe you could share some more what your current job role entails. What does your daily business look like in your current
Sure.
job?
Yeah, sure. So yes, I'm still at Volkswagen Consulting. I started 3.5 years ago, basically right out of HHL. I started as a consultant and I was just promoted to project manager now.
Congrats.
And thank you. And now with the promotion to project manager, I feel like my day-to-day also shifted a bit. Now it's not just about working for the team, preparing presentations and stuff like that, and working for the client, helping your clients, but it's also now about managing my own team, managing expectations, developing a team culture that I want to promote within my team. So it now it's sort of as a dual role. On the one side, you have the client that you have to help, that you have to make happy at the end of the day, but also a team that looks at you and wants guidance and also wants to have a fun project, a good project at the end of the day.
Very interesting. Thanks for sharing. And I mean, we've already touched upon it, the whole networking aspect. You said that you got your current role or that you learned about Volkswagen Consulting from an HHL alumni. So of course, here the network was working.
Yes.
But have you also experienced some form of mentorship, either at university, maybe with someone more mature, or maybe at your current job role, that you had some form of mentorship that impacted your career in any way?
Mhm. I feel like the mentorship sort sort of started when I started my job. We don't really have a formal mentorship program, so to speak, but I feel like all my senior colleagues and also the bosses that I've had over the 3.5 years now, they've all really acted as mentors because they want you to succeed. They want to help you get better. They want to promote you. They want you to, have this fast track career, also beyond the consultancy. So that has been really good. But I've never really had just one mentor. It's always been a few people. And from a networking perspective, we also have a woman network within Volkswagen Consulting that I'm also co-leading with a colleague of mine, where we're also trying to empower the women that we already have and also do the outreach to potential candidates, female candidates, to also have a higher share of women within the consultancy at the end of the day and really build up this network to support each other.
Very interesting, and I think very special that you have found an employer who also put so much emphasis on this topic. Would have actually also been my next question, if you have any concrete advice maybe for younger women, just like you were 3.5 years ago, just starting out in the business world. Is there anything you would like to share for maybe the people in our audience who are just starting or who are still in university? Especially women, of course, but also for guys, if you want to share something.
I mean, I think my advice would be pretty universal, both to men and women. And that's also something that I always tell potential candidates who might want to apply at Volkswagen Consulting. At the end of the day, what has helped me is just to be myself. And that would also be my advice to everybody else. Because it does not help you if you try to conform with a certain stereotype. When you think about consultants, you definitely have a stereotype in mind, but it doesn't mean that you really need to fit into this box. You can be different, and I would encourage you to be different. Be bold. Don't think that there's anything you can't do, which I know I've struggled with in the past as well. I think that's natural. But just being yourself and knowing that being different in a way can also be good. It can be enriching to a team if you don't have the same thoughts and ideas, but you can think outside of a box. You have different experiences to everyone else. So yeah, just really be yourself.
Wow, very powerful statement. Thanks. Of course, diversity in a lot of contexts, but also in the work context helps a lot. And I personally strongly believe that diversity really gets the best outcomes in a team if people have different backgrounds. Thanks for sharing. And of course, again, circling back to HHL, and I mean, it is a very also international university. You already said you've learned to work with different types of people, and it made you also prepared you for your current role. Are there any more qualities that you learned at HHL which are actively helping you today in your daily business, also in your role as a manager, now that you have to lead your own team?
Especially with the amount of group work you have to do at HHL and the different people that just get thrown into a team, you always also had to not only manage yourself, but also sort of manage the others a little bit. Not everyone might have the same motivation coming into a group assignment, which is normal. Yeah, maybe that subject is not someone's cup of tea, not their strength. But you still have to help them and motivate them to really bring out the best in them for them to succeed in that assignment as well. And that's definitely something that I've learned at HHL too. Not really something that's been taught necessarily, but something that you just learn on the go, that you learn while you do it.
Very interesting. Thank you. And yeah, last but not least, looking into the future, a little outlook maybe. what are changes that you hope to see in the business world? And again, of course, not just for women, but in particular, changes also accompanied by maybe certain values. We already talked about diversity and we talked about different team contexts. But what is there, if you look into the future, where you think that the business world should change, or maybe you already see positive changes that you maybe also want to contribute to?
I mean, I hope in the future the business world also gets more diverse. I think maybe looking back 10, 15 years, we've already changed as a society. We've already grown as a society, but I think we still have a way to go there. So for the future, I would hope that we as a whole value diversity and inclusion as an integral part of every company, because it is helpful, and it can be so valuable to have different people from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, working towards a common and shared goal. And I think we still have a way to go. And I think that it's mostly a mindset shift that still needs to happen, especially maybe with some of the older generations. And I hope that in, I don't know, 10, 15 years, we get there. We have this mindset that inclusion and diversity is helpful, and that we can represent also a broader scale of what society is also in the business world, and stop thinking in those strict boxes or silos that we might be stuck in still at this point.
Wow, yeah. Thanks again for giving us those insights. And I'm very hopeful with young female new leaders like yourself that this change is going to happen rather quickly than slower. So thanks again for sharing those insights and giving us a little glimpse into your work and your ideas of what happened to you after university.
Perfect. Thank you so much.